In the dark shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read the ancient tomes. The order of the Abracast. We are the brave and the bold.
The ways of enlarging the lingam must now be related. When a man wishes to enlarge his lingam, he should rub it with the bristles of certain insects that live in trees. And then, after rubbing it for 10 nights with oils, he should again rub it with the bristles as before. By continuing to do this, a swelling will be gradually produced in the lingam. And he should then lie on a cot and cause his lingam to hang down through a hole in the cot. After this, he should take away all the pain from the swelling by using cool concoctions. The swelling, which is called sukha, is often brought about among the people of the Dravida country, lasts for life. If the lingam is rubbed with the following things, the plant Physalis flexuso, the Chevra kandaca plant, the Jalasuka plant, the fruit of the eggplant, the butter of the shea buffalo, the Hastri charma plant, and the juice of the Vajra rasa plant. The swelling lasting for 1 month will be produced. And by rubbing it with oil boiled in the concoctions of the above things, the same effect will be produced, but lasting for 6 months. The enlargement of the lingam is also affected by rubbing it or moistening it with oil boiled on a moderate fire, along with the seeds of the pomegranate and the cucumber, the juices of the Valuka plant, the Hastricharma plant, and the eggplant. And in addition to the above, other means may be learnt from experienced and confidential persons. This obviously is the Kama Sutra.
The Abracast, occult, history, conspiracy, and violence.
All right, welcome to the Abracast. I am John Towers. I wanted to do something a little bit lighter and fun here to wrap up this month. And I was looking at my catalog on the feature topic links, abracast.com, and I was looking if there was any gaps that I could fill. And I was looking at all of the sex magic episodes, and I thought about covering the Kama Sutra. The Kama Sutra is a book we all know. It's all about sexy stuff. Actually, it's not all about sexy stuff. It is this sort of, it's a look at the society and cultural norms of the times it was written. And we're pretty much disregarding all of that stuff, and we're going to talk about the sex stuff. And hey, this is a grown-up professional podcast. So we're going to get through all of this stuff in a straight-faced, button-down, very serious manner. If you're looking for trigger warnings, there it is. We're going to be talking about sex stuff. I mean, I just spent 3 minutes talking about how to enlarge your lingam by rubbing bugs on it. So one of the reasons we don't do like a lot of like this Indian Hindu stuff because I have a giant blind side to it. First of all, I have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, and I've read some of the Vedas and all of this stuff, but I have giant blind side to it. I got my hands full with like the Old Testament and and Goetia and all this kind of stuff. So I'm probably going to wind up butchering some of the pronunciations in here. So I want to apologize in advance and say that any butchering of the language is not out of disrespect. It is not out of disrespect. It's just about me not knowing how to fucking pronounce it. So enough with all that stuff. The featured book for tonight is the Kama Sutra of Vatsyayana by Sir Richard Burton. He didn't write it. He translated it and published in 1883. So let's start at the beginning. Boy, okay, let's... let's not get ahead of ourselves. If you're playing along at home, and I hope that you are, now is the time that I want you to summon your vessel of the art, and I want you to mix up your favorite weapon of mass distraction. I will be partaking in a jinn jihad this evening. So please raise your vessels to the sky and thank my Patreon and Subscribe Star supporters. Thank you guys for, without you, none of this could be happening. All right. Now that my whistle's wetted, I've said everything I have to say before I get started with this. My lingam's stretched. we're all ready to go. So what I'm just going to hold on. I'm going to keep I'm going to keep my powder dry, as they would say. So here we go into the book. I bought this book with money from my Patreon and Subscribe Star supporters. So there you go. Of the embrace. However, the part 64 is now treated of, and the embrace being the first subject will now be considered. Now, the embrace, which indicates the mutual love of a man and of a woman who have come together, is of four kinds. The touching embrace, the rubbing embrace, the piercing embrace, and the pressing embrace. The action in each case is denoted by the meaning of the word which stands for it. When a man, under some pretext or other, goes in front or alongside of his woman and touches her body with his own, it is called the touching embrace. When a woman in a lonely place bends down as if to pick something up and pierces, as it were, a man standing or sitting with her breasts, and the man in return takes hold of them, it is called the piercing embrace. The above two kinds of embraces take place only between persons who do not, as yet, speak freely with each other. When the two lovers are walking together slowly, either in the dark or in a place of public resort or in a lonely place, and rub their bodies against each other, it is called the rubbing embrace. This one's my favorite. When, on the above occasion, one of them presses the other's body forcibly against a wall or a pillar, it is called the pressing embrace. So I struggled a little bit to try to decide whether I should try to explain these illustrations to you. And there's just no way I can. There's just no way I can explain this stuff. So, I mean, now look, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. This pressing embrace business, I'm just not. It looks like they're wrestling. That's the best I can come up with. It looks like they're wrestling. He's about to give her some sort of weird side Russian leg sweep, I guess. That's the best I can come up with. Like dry humping her muffin top hip area. Okay. I foresaw this happening, which is why I decided not to try to explain the figures, but I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself. So anyhow, at the time of the meeting, the 4 following kinds of embraces are used. The twining of a creeper. Oh boy. Okay, so I'll actually attempt these words. The jet of Eshitaka, or the twining creeper, or the Vrkshad Huruduaka, a climbing tree, or the Tilla Tandulaka. It's a mixture of the sesameum seed with rice, or the Kishiran Niraka, or the milk and water embrace. When a woman clinging to a man as a creeper twines around a tree, bends his head down to hers with the desire of kissing him, and slightly making the sound of sutsut, embraces him and looks lovingly towards him, it is called an embrace, like the twining of a creeper. When a woman, having placed one of her feet on the foot of her lover and the other on his thigh, presses one of her arms around his back and the other on his shoulder, and makes a slightly sound of singing and cooing and wishes, as it were, to climb up him in order to have a kiss. It is called the embrace, like the climbing of a tree. Of these 2 kinds of embrace take place when the lover is standing. Okay, so this is another one of the weird ones. I mean, a lot of them are weird. Yeah, like I really... Yeah. I mean, right. I don't know what else to say. She looks like she's climbing a tree, kind of. With, like, rubbery Stretch Armstrong knees. When a lover lie on a bed, they embrace each other so closely that the arms and thighs of the one are encircled by the arms and thighs of another, and are, as it were, rubbing up against them. This is called an embrace, like the mixture of the sesame seed with the rice. And when a man and a woman are very much in love with each other and not thinking of any pain or hurt, embrace each other as if they were entering into each other's bodies, either while the woman is sitting on the lap of a man or in front of him or on a bed, then this is called the embrace, like a mixture of milk and water. These 2 kinds of embrace take place at the time of a sexual union. Bob Hravaya has thus related to the above 8 kinds of embraces. Sev Aranabaha, moreover, gives us 4 ways of embracing simple members of the body, which are the embrace of the thighs, the embrace of the yaghana, which is the part of the body from the navel downwards to the thighs. Oh, yes. Embrace of the breast. And last but not least, the embrace of the forehead. When one of the lovers presses forcibly one or both of the thighs in between his or her own, this is called the embrace of the thighs. Again, this looks like a fucking wrestling move. When a man presses the yaghana, or middle part of the woman's body, against his own and mounts upon her to practice either scratching with the nail or the finger, or biting or striking or kissing the hair of the woman being loose and flowing, it is called the embrace of the yaghana. I mean, I guess it's also kind of like dry humping until I can bite you or smack you. When a man places his breast between the breast of the Vatsyayana woman and presses her with it, it is called the embrace of the breasts. When neither of the lovers touches the mouth, the eyes, and the forehead with the other, with his or her own, it is called the embrace of the forehead. All right, let's move to the next section on kissing. The following are the best places for kissing: the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, the throat, the bosom, the breasts, the lips, the interior of the mouth. Moreover, the people of the Lat country kiss also in the following places: the joints of the thighs, the arms, and the navel. I could get behind the navel, but Vatsyayana thinks that though kissing is practiced by these people in the above places on the account of the intensity of their love and the customs of their own country, it is not fit to be practiced by all. Now, in a case of a young girl, there are three sorts of kisses: the nominal, the throbbing, and the touching. I'm not going to have a debate here about what the text means by young girl. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. When a girl only touches the mouth of her lover with her own, but does not herself do anything, this is called the nominal kiss. When a girl, setting aside her bashfulness a little, wishes to touch the lip that is pressed into her mouth, with the object moves her lower lip, but not the upper one, this is called the throbbing kiss. And when a girl touches her lover's lips with her tongue and having shut her eyes and places her hand on those of her lover, it is called the touching kiss. Other authors describe four other kinds of kisses: the straight, the bent, the turned, and the pressed. When the lips of two lovers are brought into direct contact with each other, it is called a straight kiss. When the heads of two lovers are bent towards each other, and when so bent kissing takes place, it is called the bent kiss. I'm just going to skip ahead. I'm not exactly sure what the delineation between why is it different? I'm pushing forward. I want to get to the good stuff. Like that. That's the good stuff. On pressing, marking, or scratching with nails. But pressing with the nails is not a usual thing except for those who are intensely passionate, i.e. full of passion. It is employed together with biting by those of whom the practice is agreeable. By pressing with the nails is of 8 following kinds according to the forms of the mark which is produced: sounding, half moon, a circle, a line, a tiger's nail or claw. Oh boy, man. I had an ex-girlfriend that would claw the fuck out of me like that. A peacock's foot, the jump of a hare, the leaf of a blue lotus. The places that are to be pressed with the nails are as followed: the armpit, the throat, the breasts, the lips, the yaghana, or middle parts of the body, and the thighs. But Suvarana Bana is of the opinion that when the impetuosity of the passion is excessive, the places need not be considered. The qualities of good nails are that they should be bright, well set, clean, entire. Yeah, get that snaggle nail shit out of there. Convex, soft, and glossy in appearance. The nails are of three kinds according to their size. Does anyone want to guess what the three cataloging features are? Small, medium, and large. Large nails, which give grace to the hand and attract the hearts of women from their appearance, are possessed by the Bengalese. Small nails, which can be used in various ways and are to be applied only with the object of giving pleasure, are possessed by the people of the southern districts. Middling nails, which contain the properties of both of the above kind, belong to the people of the Maharashtra. When a person presses the chin, the breasts, the lower lip, or the yaghana of another so softly that no scratch or mark is left, but only the hair on the body becomes erect from the touch of the nails themselves make a sound. It is called the sounding or pressing with the nails. This pressing is used in the case of a young girl when her lover shampoos her, scratches her head, and wants to trouble or frighten her. The curved marks with the nails, which is impressed in the neck and the breast, is called the half moon. And when the half moons are impressed opposite each side, it is called the circle. This marks with the nails is generally made on the navel, the small cavities about the buttocks, and the joints of the thigh. A mark from a small line which can be made from any part of the body is called a line. The same line, when curved and made on the breast, is called the tiger's nail. This girl used to shred me, not on my breast, but like in, I guess, my yaghana area. Like a fucking Cuisinart down there. When a curved mark is made on the breast by means of 5 nails, it is called the peacock's foot. This mark is made with the object of being praised, for it requires a great deal of skill to make it properly. When 5 marks with the nails are made close to one another near the nipple of the breast, it is called the jump of the hair. It's also like a kung fu maneuver. Again, we're back to wrestling. It's like the Von Erich's claw. A mark made on the breast or on the hips in the form of a leaf of the blue lotus is called the leaf of the blue lotus. When a person going on a journey and makes a mark on the thighs or on the breast, it is called a token of remembrance. On such an occasion, 3 or 4 lines are impressed closely to one another with the nails. All right, here we go. On biting. The defects of the teeth, on the other hand, are that they are blunt, protruding from the gums, rough, soft, large, and loosely set. I cut off the beginning. The following are the different kinds of biting: the hidden bite, the swollen bite, the point, the line of points, the coral and the jewel, the line of jewels, the broken cloud, and the biting of the boar. The biting, which is shown only by the excessive redness of the skin that is bitten, is called the hidden bite. When the skin is pressed down on both sides, it is called the swollen bite. I guess that's like a hickey. Do they call it that anymore? What do the kids call that nowadays? A hickey? A sucker bite? What's it called? The curling iron. When a small portion of the skin is bitten with 2 teeth only, it is called the point. When small portions of the skin are bitten with all the teeth, it is called a line of points. Very, it's easy to follow these names. The biting, which is done by bringing together the teeth and the lips, is called the coral and the jewel. The lips is the coral and the teeth is the jewel. When biting is done with all the teeth, it is called a line of jewels. The biting, which consists of unequal risings in a circle, in which it comes from the space betwixt the teeth, is called the broken cloud. This is impressed upon the breast. The biting, which consists of many broad rows of marks near to one another and with red intervals, is called the biting of a boar. This is impressed on the breast and the shoulder. And these last two modes of biting are peculiar to persons of intense passions. The lower lip is placed on which the hidden bite, the swollen bite, and the point are made again. The swollen bite and the coral jewel bite are done on the cheek. Kissing, pressing with the nail, and biting are the ornaments of the left cheek. And when the word cheek is used, it is to be understood as the left cheek. Both the line of points and the line of jewels are to be impressed on the throat, the armpit, and the joints of the thighs. The points alone is to be impressed upon the forehead and the thighs and the marking. Okay, I'm done with all this biting business.
On this month's exclusive Order of the Fellowcraft episode.
Towards Mount Rainier, he saw 9 gleaming discs outlined against the snow, each one about the size of a C-54. Is it a function of false reporting? Is it a function of media incompetence or straight up misinformation? From my point of view, every, quote, flying saucer, unquote, story from this point on is at least a suspect for some sort of corruption. It has been over 2 years since the puzzling death of Captain Mantell. Mantell died mysteriously in the skies south of Fort Knox, but before his radio went silent, he sent a strange message to Goodman Air Force Base.
Support the show at patreon.com or subscribestar.com.
I had a very tumultuous few weeks. Last Saturday, a week ago, something very bad happened. Someone put or planted tantric porn, tantric sex porn, tantra on my boyfriend's website, thinking that he would get in trouble with me. Well, he got in trouble with me, and I had to get an explanation. We're back together and everything's cleared up, but I'm on the warpath against tantric sex because I think it is up there with bestiality, and it's just and the same with the Kama Sutra. It's like not right. It's not natural. Those positions and stuff are not natural. In fact, they can terrify someone half to death. I had a run-in with tantric porn a few months ago when some squash had put some on my Facebook. Now I have to live in fear and not use my real name on Facebook. I shouldn't even be saying I have Facebook because of this. I have to see therapists. I have to it added to my PTSD. It's something I have to work through. It's something I have to get my meds checked every so often because of. Tantra it's serious shit. It's criminal. And it's terrifying. So, help me to have it outlawed in the same as the Kama Sutra. Help me.
Learn more at abracast.com. Get bonus content and access to the private Abracast workgroup by signing up for the mailing list. Get all that plus many exclusive episodes by supporting the show at patreon.com or subscribestar.com.
All right, let's get back into it on the different ways of laying down in the various kinds of Congress. Skipping through here, the deer woman has the following 3 ways of laying down. The widely opened position, oh yeah. The yawning position, all right. In the position of the wife of Indra, yes. When she lowers her head and raises her middle parts, it is called the widely opened position. At such time, the man should apply some unguent as to make the entrance easy. So easy. When she raises her thighs and keeps them wide apart and engages in congress, it is called the yawning position. So I'm struggling to not relate all these things to like my personal life, like the scratching stuff. When she places her thigh, it's hard to quiet my mind. When she places her thighs with her legs doubled upon her sides and thus engages in congress, it is called the position of Indrani. This is learnt only by practice. The position is also useful in the case of the highest congress. The clasping position is used in low congress and in the lowest congress, together with the pressing position, the twining position, and the mare's position. When the legs of both the male and the female are stretched straight out over each other, it is called the clasping position. It is of 2 kinds. Again, this looks like wrestling. The side position and the supine position. According to the way in which they lie down in the side position, the male should invariably lie on his left side and cause the woman to lie on her right side. And this rule is to be observed in lying down with all kinds of women. When, after congress has begun in the clasping position, the woman presses her lover with her thighs, and this is called the pressing position. I just imagine a world when they're like, oh, okay, you're 18 years old, here is your sex manual. And trying to make sense of all this stuff. Like, you should see the way that these people are, like, bent up. I don't know, like, this is an old book, but I don't feel comfortable reproducing the artwork. Like, I can't scan the artwork and put it on the Fulgor Correspondentia or like on Patreon or whatever. Struggles. When the woman places one of her thighs across the thigh of her lover, it is called the twining position. When the woman forcibly holds in her yoni the lingam after it, yeah, do I need to translate that? It is called the mare's position. This is learnt by practice only and is chiefly found among women of the Andhra country. If you guys know any chicks from the Andhra country, get them on the phone right now. Forcibly holds in her yoni the lingam. The above are different ways of lying down mentioned by Bob Haravia. Servan Baba. However, this gives the following in addition. When the female raises both of her thighs straight up, this is called the rising position. And when she raises both of her legs and places them on her lover's shoulders, it is called the yawning position. When the legs are contracted and thus held by the lover before his bosom, it is called the pressing position. And only when one of her legs is stretched out is it called the half-pressed position. When the woman places one of her legs on her lover's shoulders and stretches out the other. Okay. This is a good picture. This is a nice one. She stretches out the other and then places the latter on his shoulder and stretches out the other and continues to do so alternately. This is called the splitting of bamboo. It's also called the Liu Kang bicycle kick. When both legs of the woman are contracted and placed on her stomach, it is called the crab's position. Okay. When the thighs, I'm trying to not explain these drawings. When the thighs are raised and placed upon one another, it's called the packed position. And when the shanks are placed one upon another, it's called the lotus-like position. When a man during Congress turns around and enjoys the woman without leaving her while she embraces him around the back at all times, this is called the turning position and is learnt only by practice. Thus says Suv Arn Anabaha. These different ways of lying down, sitting, and standing should be practiced in water because it is easy to do so therein. But Vatsyayana is of the opinion that Congress in water is improper because it is prohibited by religious law. And unless you got chlorine in there, you're putting yourself at risk, ladies. I guess even if you do put chlorine, I guess could be a risk in there. When a man and a woman support themselves on each other's body or on a wall or on a pillar, and thus while standing engage in Congress, this is called the supported Congress. When a man supports himself against a wall in a dirty bathroom and the fluorescent lights above him are flickering, paper towels are falling out of the domed trash can next to them, and the woman sitting on his hands joined together and underneath her throws her arms around his neck and putting her thighs alongside his waist moves forward by her feet, which are touching the wall against which the man is leaning, is called the suspended Congress. When a woman stands on her hands and feet like a when a woman stands on her hands and feet like a quadruped and her lover mounts her like a bull, this is called the Congress of the Cow. At this time, everything that is ordinarily done on the bosom should be done on the back. They're talking about pinching and scratching and slapping. On the same way can be carried on the congress of a dog, the congress of a goat, the congress of a deer, the forcible mounting of an ass. You can take that to mean whatever you might like to think. The congress of a cat, the jump of a tiger, the pressing of an elephant, the rubbing of a boar, the mounting of a horse, And in all these cases, the characteristics of these different animals should be manifested by acting like them. I'm just trying to think about what sound would I make if I was in the pressing of an elephant. I don't know. A woman like that will teach you a lot about yourself. Thus spake John Roper. Message me if you get that reference, by the way. I want to know how out of touch I am with reality. When a man enjoys two women at the same time, both of whom love him equally, this is called United Congress. When a man enjoys many women altogether, it is called, oh boy, a Congress of a herd of cows. In Graminary, many young men enjoy a woman that they may be married to one of them, either one after the other or at the same time. Thus, one of them holds her, another enjoys her, a third uses her mouth, a fourth holds her middle part, and in this way they go on enjoying her several parts alternately. The same thing can be done when several men are sitting in a company with one courtesan, or when one courtesan is alone with many men. In the same way, this can be done by the women of the king's harem when they accidentally get a hold of a man. All right, so do you remember the clasping position? The clasping position, it said, should be done when you're in the lower congress. Okay, so here, I'm going to spring it on you now. The people in the southern countries have also a congress in the anus that is called the lower congress. All right, let's move on. These dudes know how to party. The next section of the various modes of striking and of the sounds appropriate to them. Sexual intercourse can be compared to a quarrel on account of the contrarieties of love and its tendency to dispute. The place of striking with passion is the body, and on the body the special places are the shoulders, the head, the space between the breasts, the back, the yang hana, or the middle part of the body, or the sides. They're saying you can strike the place between the breasts. This is like a like a sambo strike. Yeah! Striking is of four kinds: with the back of the hand, with the fingers a little contracted. I guess that means like a tiger claw, like if you were in a Bruce Lee movie, like a hint. If you were in a Bruce Lee movie, like a tiger claw. Striking with the fist, and if you're going to do that sambo strike to the space between the breasts, striking with the open palm of the hand. On the account of its causing pain, striking gives rise to a hissing sound, which is of various kinds, and to the 8 kinds of crying. The sound of hin, the thundering sound, the cooing sound, the weeping sound, the sound foot, the sound fat, P-H-A-T, the sound soot, and the sound plat. When I was wrestling, whenever, like you would say, like karate people would go like, hi-ya, or like whatever. Like when I not that many people did that in wrestling. But whenever I was wrestling, like I was like winding up, like to strike someone with the open palm of the hand in the space between the breast, I would go, hassa, hassa. I use that especially a lot in my earlier years. I used to, ya, hassa, all that kind of nonsense. I guess I generally eased out of that. I didn't do that anymore, but that was cool. Like I really enjoyed doing that. Huh. Next time I fist fight a motherfucker, I'll do it again. Asa. They'd be like, Asa. Besides these, there are also words having meaning. Oh my God. Ding, ding, ding. Dr. Freud, line 2. Besides these, there are also words having meaning such as mother, and those that are expressive of prohibition, sufficiency, desire of liberation, pain, or praise, into which may be added sounds like those of the dove, the cuckoo, the green pigeon, the parrot, the bee, the sparrow, the flamingo. Does the flamingo even make a sound? The duck and the quail, which are occasionally made use of. Obviously, a flamingo makes some kind of sound. I don't know what it is. Blows with the fist should be given on the back of the woman while she is sitting on the lap of the man. She should give blows in return. Pa-chop-chop. Abusing the man as if she were angry and making weeping sounds while the woman is engaged in congress. The space between the breasts should be struck with the back of the hand, slowly at first, and then proportionally to the increasing excitement until the end. That kind of sounds like Black Hole Sun. At this time, the sounds hin and others may be made alternately or optionally according to the habit. When the man making the sound fat strikes the woman on the head with the fingers of his hands a little contracted. When he tiger claws her, it is called Paris Ritaka, which means striking with the fingers of the hand a little contracted. It's the 5-finger exploding palm death punch. In case the appropriate sounds are the cooing sounds, the sounds fat, and the sounds foot in the interior of the mouth. And at the end of Congress, the sighing and weeping sounds. The sound fat is an imitation of the sound of the bamboo being split, while the sound foot is the sound made by falling into water. And at all times when kissing and such like things are begun, the woman should give a reply with a hissing sound. During the excitement, when the woman is not accustomed to striking, she continually utters the word, expressive of prohibition, sufficiently, or desire of liberation, as well as the words father, mother, intermingled with the sighing, weeping, and thundering sounds. Towards the conclusion of Congress, the breasts, the yaghana, and the sides of the woman shall be pressed with the open palms of the hand with some force until the end of it. And then sounds like those of the quail or the goose should be made. Trying to absorb what I just read. About women. Oh, this is the next section. About women acting the part of a man and the work of a man. Skipping ahead a little bit. When a woman sees that her lover is fatigued by constant congress without having his desire satisfied, she should, with his permission, lay him down on his back and give him assistance by acting his part. She may also do this to satisfy the curiosity of her lover or her own desire of novelty. There are two ways of doing this. First, when during a congress she turns around and gets on top of her lover. Oh, this is like Daenerys Stormborn. In such a manner as to continue the congress without obstructing the pleasure of it. Well, maybe not. Now that I read that sentence, it's just like she's some kind of weird contortionist that could... okay, I'll get it. Like some kind of Indian rubber woman. And the other is when she acts the man's part from the beginning, at such time with flowers in her hair hanging loose, and her smiles broken by hard breathings. She should press upon her lover's bosom with her own hands and lowering her head frequently. So she shouldn't slap him and punch his chest. Returning his blows and chaffing him, she should say, I was laid down by you and fatigued with your hard congress, and now, therefore, lay you down in return. And she should then manifest her own bashfulness, her fatigue with her desire of stopping the congress. In this way, she should do the work of a man, which we shall presently relate. Whatever is done by a man for giving pleasure to a woman is called the work of a man. And as is follows. While the woman is laying in his bed and is, as it were, abstracted by his conversation, he would loosen the knot of her undergarment. And when she begins to dispute with him, he should overwhelm her just with kisses. And when his lingam is erect, he should touch her with his hands in various places and gently manipulate various parts of the body if the woman is bashful. And if it is her first time that they have come together, the man should place his hands between her thighs, which she would probably keep closed together. And if she is a very young girl, he should get his hands upon her breast, which she would probably cover with her own hands, and under her armpits and on her neck. If, however, she is a seasoned woman, he should do whatever is agreeable. Okay, I can't read any more of that. The signs of enjoyment and satisfaction of the woman are as follows. The body relaxes. She closes her eyes. She puts aside all bashfulness and shows increased willingness to unite the two organs as closely together as possible. And on the other hand, the signs of her want of enjoyment and of failing to be satisfied are she shakes her hands. She does not let the man get up. She feels dejected. She bites the man. She kicks the man and continues to go on moving after the man has finished. In such cases, the man should rub the yoni of the woman with his hands and fingers. Remember when I was joking about the pressing of the elephant? Hold on, I'm going to back up a little bit. In such cases, the man should rub the yoni of the woman with his hand and fingers, as the elephant rubs anything with his trunk, before engaging in congress until it is softened. And after that is done, he shall proceed to put his lingam into her. The acts to be done by the man are moving forward. Oh boy. Moving forward, friction or churning, piercing, rubbing, pressing, giving a blow, the blow of a boar, the blow of a bull, the sporting of a sparrow. I guess we're going to do this. I guess we're going all in. When the organs are brought together properly and directly, it is called moving the organ forward. When the lingam is held with the hand and turned all around in the yoni, it is called the churning. I just keep getting wrestling references. When the yoni is lowered on the upper part of it is struck with the lingam, it is called the piercing. The same thing is done to the lower part of the yoni. It is called the rubbing. I understand all of this now, which is hilarious. When the yoni is pressed by the lingam for a long time, it is called the pressing. When the lingam is removed to some distance from the yoni and then forcibly strikes it, it is called giving a blow. When the only part of the yoni is rubbed with the lingam, it is called the blow of a boar. Yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to skip ahead through some of this stuff. When a woman acts the part of a man, she has the following things to do in addition to the 9 given above. The pair of tongs, the top, and the swing. When the woman holds the lingam in her yoni and draws it in, presses it, and keeps it thus in her for a long time, it is called the pair of tongs. When, while engaged in congress, she turns around like a wheel, it is called the top. And that is learned by practice only. When, on such occasion, the man lifts up the middle part of his body, and turns the woman around her middle part, it is called the swing. When the woman is tired, she shall place her forehead on that of her lover, and should thus take a rest without disturbing the union of the organs. And when the woman has rested herself, the man should turn around and begin congress again. All right, so it's getting late. I still have a little bit to get through, so I'm just going to skip trying to print out some of this stuff. So on mouth congress, let's get right to it. So I'm really struggling with how. So what I think I'm going to do, I think on the mailing list, if you sign into the Fulgar Correspondentia, I think on the mailing list, I'm going to actually draw some of these positions and put them onto the mailing list. So the mailing list goes out the last weekday of every month. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw 6 of these positions. I'm going to pick the best ones. All right. Biting the sides, pressing the outside, pressing the inside, kissing, rubbing, sucking a mango fruit, and then swallowing it up. At the end of each of these, the eunuch expresses his wish to stop, but when one of them is finished, the man desires to do another, and after that is done, another one follows it, and so on. When holding the man's lingam in his hands and placing it, I don't know if I can read this. Is this whole story about a eunuch and a dude? Oh my God! Here we go. The eunuch moves about his mouth that is called nominal congress. Well, this is not nearly as fun as I thought it was going to be. When covering the end of the lingam with his fingers collected together like a bud of a plant or a flower, the eunuch presses the side of it with his lips using his teeth. That is called biting the sides. When... All right. All right, here we go. A little bit of discipline, a little bit of focus. When being desired to... So this is now the Kama Sutra as edited by John Towers of the Abercast. When being desired to proceed, the chick presses the end of the lingam with her lips closed together and kisses it as if she were draining it out. This is called outside pressing. When being asked to go on, she puts the lingam further into her mouth and presses it with her lips and then takes it out, and it is called inside pressing. When holding the lingam in her hand, the chick kisses it as if she were kissing the lower lip. it is called kissing. When, after kissing it, she touches it with her tongue everywhere and passes the tongue over the end of it, it is called rubbing. When, in the same way, she puts half of it into her mouth and forcibly kisses it and sucks it, it is called the sucking of the mango fruit. And lastly, with the consent of the man, the chick puts the whole lingam into her mouth and presses it to the very end as if she were going to swallow up. It is called the swallowing up. And striking, scratching, and other things may be done during this kind of congress. This is practiced also by the unchaste and wanton women, our favorite kind of women, the wanton women, female attendants, and serving maids. Those who are not married to anybody, but who live by shampooing. All right, it goes on to say a bunch of awful stuff about chicks who give blowjobs. I don't care for that at all. Hey, I hope you like this. Something fun to end the month out. And if you're interested in my drawings of some of this stuff that I tried to describe tonight, sign into the mailing list. The Fulgar Correspondentia. There's a lot of great stuff in there all the time. 100% of the time, there's good stuff in there. And yeah, I'm John, and I'm going to let Hilla do the rest. Thank you to the supporters, the Patreon and Subscribe Star support. Appreciate it. Here's how to do it.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Send an email or visit us on social media to let us know what you think about this topic. And please remember to leave a 5-star rate and review. On this month's exclusive Order of the Fellowcraft episode.
Towards Mount Rainier, he saw 9 gleaming discs outlined against the snow, each one about the size of a C-54. Is it a function of false reporting? Is it a function of media incompetence or straight up misinformation? From my point of view, every, quote, flying saucer, unquote, story from this point on is at least a suspect for some sort of corruption. It has been over 2 years since the puzzling death of Captain Mantell. Mantell died mysteriously in the skies south of Fort Knox, but before his radio went silent, he sent a strange message to Goodman Air Force Base.
Support the show at patreon.com or subscribestar.com.